Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive with us. You guys sent some really interesting stuff about the psychology behind social media, and honestly, after digging into it all, let's just say I'm looking at my apps a little differently.
Yeah, it really makes you think, huh? Like we all know social media can be kind of addictive, but when you see the actual science behind it, it's kind of
It's
wild.
totally. Okay, so one thing that really caught my eye was this idea of a dopamine slot machine. What is that exactly?
So it all starts with dopamine, right? It's
Yeah.
this chemical in your brain, and basically whenever you do something pleasurable, your brain gives you a little dopamine reward. It's like a feel-good signal.
Okay, it makes sense.
So social media platforms, they've figured out how to tap into that system big time. Every
Mhm.
notification you get, every comment, it's like a tiny dopamine hit. It's like, ooh, someone out there thinks I'm interesting.
And that's not by accident, right?
Ooh, totally by design. And here's the kicker. They've basically borrowed the same strategy that casinos use with slot machines. Oh, interesting. Okay, I'm starting to see the connection, but I don't get it entirely. Keep going.
Think about it.
Yeah.
When you pull the lever on a slot machine, you never know what you're going to get, right? Could be a jackpot. Could be nothing. And that uncertainty, that anticipation, it keeps you hooked.
Okay, yeah. But how does that translate to like scrolling through Instagram?
Well, it's all about what's called variable rewards.
Yeah.
So like when you refresh your feed, you never know what you're going to see. It's that anticipation, that possibility of seeing something amazing, something that gives you that little dopamine hit.
And that's why we keep scrolling and scrolling.
Exactly. It's the infinite scroll in action, which, surprise, surprise, another design element straight from the casino world.
Wow, it's like they're playing us, but we don't even realize it. It's kind of like, you know what else seems similar? Snapchat streaks.
Oh, yeah, those things. Talk about pressure, right?
Mhm.
You don't want to break the streak. But again, it's that variable reward. You
Yeah.
don't know what your friend's going to send, but you got to keep snapping back.
Ugh, don't get me started. I've totally rearranged my day just to keep a streak alive. But you know what? It's not just social media either. Even some of those language learning apps use these little tricks.
Totally. Duolingo, for example. Super
Yeah.
popular app. And it's brilliant, really. Points, levels, competing with friends. They've managed to make learning a language feel kind of addictive.
That's actually really smart. I never thought about it like that.
Right. But it just goes to show these tactics, these psychological hooks, they're everywhere. And sometimes they're used for good, but other times, well, let's just say they can keep us glued to our screens a little longer than we might like.
So it's almost like we're like pawns in this game, but nobody told us the rules, you know?
Right. And the thing is, these companies, they're playing to win.
Exactly. And winning for them
It's a
means,
big profit.
okay, yeah, that's obvious. But how do they actually make money from all of this?
Well, it's a straightforward way, right? Advertising. The more time we spend scrolling, the more ads we see.
True, but it feels like it's more than that. Like with all this talk about slot machines and stuff.
You're on the right track. The articles you sent, they talk about this thing called microtransactions. Have you ever been, like, tempted to buy something on social media?
Uh, okay, maybe. Those filters, Or like outfits for my avatar in that game. The
Right.
one I never actually play. Why do I do that?
Because they're really good at what they do. See, it's all tied to that dopamine rush we were talking about. They've found a way to link that feeling of reward to stuff we can buy.
So like those virtual gifts or whatever, they make us feel special.
Exactly. Social validation, that's the key. We want to stand out, get noticed, get those likes, and we're willing to pay for it, even if it's just a little bit at a time.
Wow. So like we get that dopamine hit from the likes, which makes us want more likes. So we spend money and the cycle just keeps going.
Bingo. And it gets even deeper. The articles also talk about FOMO, the fear of missing out.
Oh yeah, FOMO is real.
Right. We see everyone else living their best lives, and we don't want to be left behind. So we stay glued to our phones, constantly checking, making sure we're in the loop. And that constant engagement, it just fuels the algorithm.
Hold up, algorithms, is that what this is all about?
They're pulling a lot of the strings.
Mm-hmm.
Think of an algorithm like this big, invisible brain behind your social media feed.
Okay.
It's constantly collecting data, tracking everything you do, and then it uses that information to decide what to show you next.
So it's like personalized manipulation.
Pretty much.
Uh,
You like cat videos? Get ready for a whole lot more cat content. Clicked on an ad for running shoes? Boom. Suddenly your entire feed is fitness related.
that explains so much, honestly. My feed is scary, accurate sometimes. It's like it's reading my mind, but not in a good way. Like, is anything sacred anymore? But okay, there was something else in these articles, something that sounds kind of ominous. Dark patterns. What are those all about?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Ominous. Because basically we're talking about design choices that are like intentionally manipulative. They're trying to steer you in a specific direction, and you might not even realize it's happening.
Okay, now I'm intrigued. Give me an example. What kind of digital trickery are we talking about here?
Well, take autoplay videos, for example. You start watching one thing, and then suddenly you're down a rabbit hole. 5 videos later, you're like, how did I even get here?
Oh, all the time. Or like those endless notifications. It's like every buzz gives me a little shot of adrenaline. Why do they do that?
Because it works. Those little red badges, they tap right into that FOMO. We have to check, just to make it go away. And of course, once you're on the app, game over. Back to scrolling.
Ugh. Don't even get me started on trying to log out of some of these apps. It's like they're hiding the button on purpose.
Oh, it's totally on purpose. They make it so easy to sign up to start using the app.
Hmm.
But logging out, good luck with that. Buried deep in the settings, hoping you'll just give up and keep scrolling.
So what can we do about it? If they're using all these tricks, all this psychology, are we doomed?
No, not at all. Just having this conversation, being aware of these tactics, that's a huge first step. Knowledge is power.
Right. Okay, so we know the enemy. Now what? What can we actually do to, like, fight back?
Start setting some boundaries. Decide how much time you're willing to spend on social media each day and stick to it. Your phone probably has built-in tools for this, or you can download an app. And those notifications, turn them off, especially the ones that just stress you out.
You know what? That's a really good point. It's easy to feel powerless, like these tech giants are in control. But we do have a choice, don't we?
We absolutely do. We can choose to disengage, to be more mindful of our time and attention. Social media can be a good thing, a powerful tool for connection, but it's all about finding that balance.
So true. This has been such an eye-opening conversation. Thank you, listeners, for sending in these articles. It just goes to show the more we know about how these platforms work, the better choices we can make. So next time you open that app, remember, you're not just a user, you're a player in the game. And now you know the rules.
Exactly. Play smart.